So Conor Benn manages to actually stop Chris Algieri in a very impressive performance. Now Conor Benn actually looked like even though he's slightly shorter than Chris Algieri, he managed to knock him out in the 4th round, but he just looked like he looked physically, not from the eye, like he didn't look physically bigger than him when you looked at him just like from the eye test, but in terms of the way he pushed Chris Algieri around, Chris Algieri looked like the smaller man in there in terms of his physical strength. It just looked like he had no chance in there with him. He knocked him out in the 4th round, but I think before that, I think it was the 2nd round or something like that, he actually managed to knock him down, and it's almost like Chris Algieri done almost like a roly-poly, very similar to what he did when he fought Pacquiao, when Pacquiao knocked him down in their fight. He almost made him do like a bit of a roly-poly and move back, and it was actually crazy to see it from that perspective. It seems like Chris Algieri is just he's almost become like a gatekeeper at this point. He was a good fighter in his prime. Obviously he beat Ruslan Pronovnikov to actually win the title, but then before that he was in a few good fights here and there, but it's just when it came to the actual fight itself, I just felt like he was coming just for a paycheck. The thing about Chris Algieri is he's a really nice guy and he's a good person and all of that, but a lot of times I just don't feel like his mind is 100% focused on boxing. I mean, as soon as I think he knows in his own mind that he's not the best, and he's just taking good paychecks to get that paper, and he's just put himself in a position to actually just win, just get good paychecks to become as a gatekeeper, because I feel like he's got a lot of things going on outside of the ring that he's more focused on, like his nutrition business. He works as a nutritionist, he's got his own app, I think he works in as a commentator or something like that. He's got a few gigs going on, and I feel like boxing for him at this point is just a way for him to just almost just like just make some money. That's it. When he's going in there against fighters like Errol Spence, who's looking to win titles and become the best in the division, you obviously got Conor Benn, who wants to win a title. Conor Benn's 25, this guy's 37, so in terms of, he's got like 12 years on him. So like from that perspective, I just think his fire's kind of gone. He threw out a lazy jab, and then Conor Benn just came over the top with a 1-2 and completely knocked him out. But he was the bigger man in there in terms of his size and his reach. But in terms of physically, it looked like Conor Benn was bigger in there because he's bullying him in terms of throwing him around the ring. But yeah, in my opinion, I think Conor Benn has improved radically. I mean, he looks like he's a completely different fighter compared to the guy that was fighting that French journeyman who almost who gave him 2 closed eyes. Yeah, he looks impressive. I think if he was to fight Amir Khan now, he'll definitely stop him. But if they were to fight in their prime, I would go for Khan. But right now, I think Khan would be smart not to fight Conor Benn, because he does look amazing. But at the same time, I don't know, I don't feel like he's got enough to beat like an Avanesian or one of these top guys. Like he's probably a C-B level fighter, which is still a good fighter, and he can beat fighters. But if he was to go in there against an Avanesian or someone like that, I think that because of their experience alone, I just got a feeling they would beat him. But I could be wrong, because the way he's been improving lately, I still don't think he's ready for he's not as good as a Boots Ennis or Virgil Ortiz in terms of the other fighters in his division that are elite. But I think give it enough time, the way he's been improving, I think he can get to that level where he can compete or maybe win a title one day. I mean, the 140 division, I think he needs to go down to 140. 147, I think, is just too big for him. He's just not big enough to compete at that level. But 140, I think he can win a title there, because the fact is, what's his name? Josh Taylor, he's talking about moving up. So he's probably going to go up to welterweight. So if you've got a fighter that's going to move up, the titles are going to become vacant, and he could probably pick up a title after he decides to just say, you know what, I'm going to move up to another division. Because he's talking about going up to 147. So after he gets himself he gets himself in a position to defend his titles against Catterall, he's probably going to move up to another division, and then at that point all the titles are going to become vacant, and Conor Benn can go down to 140 and probably win a title, maybe win one title or two titles or something, because the 140 division is competitive, but I just don't think he's ready for the animals at 147. That's just my opinion. But this was a very impressive performance for Conor Benn. Now, don't get it twisted. I feel like Chris Algieri was, in a weird way, made for him. He doesn't have that much power. He's 37. He's coming towards the end of his career in terms of his ambition. Like, let's be real. Chris Algieri, probably in his own mind, knows he's never going to win another title again, or going to be one of the top fighters in the division. He's just coming for a paycheck. So, from that perspective, it was almost like a showcase fight to make Conor Benn look really good. And to be fair, it did make him look good. But I think in terms of levels, he needs to step up against someone like Avanesyan, or one of these guys that are just really coming to win, and who's got world title ambitions of his own. And on top of that, physically has got advantages as well. I'm not saying Chris Algieri's not a good fighter, he is, but he's not a fighter that's always had the hardest power, and it's more likely to put it on him. And let's be real, Chris Algieri did land a few good shots on him. I mean, Conor Benn needs to work on his defense, and there's a few things that he needs to work on. But I think he could definitely win a title at 140. 147 is another question entirely, because I don't know if he's big enough to compete at that weight class. And it just seems like the likes of a Boots Ennis, a Virgil Ortiz are just more refined than he is. I mean, Boots Ennis beat Sergey Lipinets. I mean, who has Conor Benn fought that's even remotely close to a Sergey Lipinets? And not only did he beat him, he knocked him out. So I think he needs to go down to 140. I think 147, the people there are just a bit too big for him. But 140, I think he can compete on that level. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Tell me your opinion about this fight. What do you think about Conor Benn? Do you think he can go all the way, or do you think he needs to campaign down? Because I think he should go to 140. I think the people at 147 are just too big for him. I'm not saying never fight at 147. He can fight there, but I think his natural weight is 140 in my opinion. He does look more impressive. His hand movement is better. I think he does need to work a bit more on his defense. But it was quite impressive, that 1-2 that he did where he knocked him down. It was quite impressive. So yeah, that's just my opinion on this particular fight. Tell me your opinion about Conor Benn, and how far do you think he can go? I think he needs a step up now, like an Avanesyan or someone like that. Then we can really see the levels that he's at. Obviously he did fight Granados, who's a good fighter, but I think he needs to go down to 140. I think 140 is where his weight class should be. That's where he should fight. I think he's a bit too small for 147, but he's still a young guy, and I think he can fill out and go up to 147. But I just think right now he should go down to 140, because the titles I think are dead. They're gonna come vacant. Josh Taylor is probably gonna vacate the title if he beats Jack Catterall. He's probably gonna vacate the title and go up to 147. So he's got a real opportunity there to win a title. But obviously that's up for him and his team to decide. But I personally do think he needs to go down to 140. I think 147 is just full of beasts and fighters that are just a bit too big for him, and a bit too good as well. There's nothing wrong with him winning titles at 140 and then coming up. I mean, if Josh Taylor did it, if Crawford did it, if it's good enough for them to do, then no offense to Conor Benn, but they're fighters that are seen as much higher regard than Conor Benn is. If it's good enough for them to do it, and for them to eventually go up to 147, I don't see the problem with Conor Benn doing it. I think Conor Benn should go down to 140, or maybe even 135, and win titles there and then come up. I mean, you don't want to move up too soon, because the fighters are just too big, man. But I think at 140, I think his power, his physical presence, his strength could really make a difference, and I think there's a real good chance that he can win a title at that weight class. But tell me what you think below. What do you think about Conor Benn? Do you think he can win a world title at 140, or do you think he should stay at 147? I think he should go down to 140, but that's just my opinion. Tell me your opinions below, and like and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace out.